Right now, the Wuthering Waves community is kind of all over the place. If you go on Twitter, Reddit, or even YouTube comments, you'll see a mix of reactions. Some players are genuinely excited, saying the upcoming content looks really good, the story looks promising, the new region looks impressive, but at the same time, there's a very loud part of the community calling this anniversary disappointing, or even straight up saying it feels like a letdown. And the strange part is, both sides are kind of right. Because if you look at version 3.3 on paper, it actually looks like a solid update. You've got new story content, new exploration in the Lahairoi arc, new characters like Hiyuki and Dania, and overall a decent amount of content to go through. Some players are even calling it phenomenal, or saying it's looking really good in terms of gameplay and story. But the problem is not really the content itself. The problem is that this is supposed to be the second anniversary, and for a lot of players, it just doesn't feel like one. Very quickly, if you want to stay up to date with everything happening in Wuthering Waves, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. I'll be covering everything as soon as it drops. Also, I'm currently running an ongoing giveaway, and we're really close to 1,000 subscribers right now, so if you want to help push it there, I'll be doing another giveaway for 10 monthly subscriptions as soon as we hit that milestone. If you want to participate, the link will be in the description. So let's talk about the context first, because this is important. This live stream was meant to celebrate the second anniversary of the game. Naturally, expectations are higher. Players expect something bigger, something more generous, or at least something that feels different from a normal patch. And this is where the first major complaint comes in. A lot of players are saying the live stream felt like a regular patch preview, not a special anniversary event. If you look at how it was presented, it followed the same structure as any other update: new characters, banners, events, and story teasers. And while that's fine for a normal version, many people expected something more celebratory. Some players even came back to the game just to check the anniversary and said it somehow felt worse than the previous one, even with low expectations going in. And that's why you're seeing comments like, "They didn't learn from the last anniversary," or "This feels mid for an anniversary." Now, another big point is the lack of major surprises. A lot of players were expecting something big. Maybe a collab, maybe a cyberpunk crossover, maybe special anniversary banners or a huge reveal. But none of that happened. So instead of feeling like a milestone update, the stream felt very safe. And that adds to the overall disappointment because anniversaries are usually where games take risks or go big. Now let's talk about the rewards because this is probably the biggest issue for most players. Looking at what was actually given, the rewards are not terrible, but they're also not impressive for an anniversary. From the livestream, you're getting 10 Radiant Tides and 10 Crystal Solvents on patch day, another 10 Radiant Tides plus an avatar on the actual anniversary day, and then from events you get 10 weapon pulls and 10 standard pulls. On top of that, you have the events. Astrite count are usually around 800 to 2,000 or more, which translates to maybe another 5 to 12 pulls depending on how much you play, and then you have smaller events like the pinball minigame with Chibi Resonators, Cube Derby returning, and the Lalo Commission event for additional rewards. So overall, you're looking at around 20 to 30 limited pulls directly from anniversary-related rewards, plus weapon pulls, standard pulls, and event currency. And again, for a normal patch, that's actually decent. But for a second anniversary, a lot of players were expecting something more, like a free 5-star character or at least some kind of selector for older units. And that didn't happen. And this hits especially hard for longtime players who wanted to pick up older characters without relying on reruns or RNG. Now this brings us to the comparison with the first anniversary, because this is where a lot of the frustration comes from. The structure is almost the same. You still have similar pull distributions, similar event design, and no major standout reward. The first anniversary was already criticized for being stingy and had to be adjusted later with extra rewards, and now players feel like the second anniversary didn't really improve much on that formula. Yes, there is a slight improvement in how the pulls are distributed. For example, getting around 20 Radiant Tides directly is more straightforward than before, but overall, the total value feels very similar. You still don't get a free 5-star, you still don't get a selector, and the event structure still relies heavily on grinding for Astrite rather than giving something big up front. And that's why a lot of players are saying this feels like more of the same, rather than a step forward. Now let's talk about banners, because that's another area where people are not fully satisfied. The current structure is Phase 1 with Hiyuki and a couple of reruns, then Phase 2 with Denaya and a few more reruns. But the number of reruns is limited, usually only 2 to 3 per phase, and many of those are relatively recent characters. So players who were hoping to see older units come back, especially early characters like Jian or Changli, feel like they've been ignored again. There was also an expectation that the anniversary might include a larger rerun pool or some kind of special banner system, but that didn't happen either. And again, that adds to the feeling that the patch is playing it too safe. Now there's also a broader issue here that's affecting perception. Even though the actual content, story, exploration, new region, looks solid, the livestream didn't really present it in a way that built hype. Some players felt like it wasn't sold well, even though the content itself might be good. And on top of that, you have ongoing frustrations like optimization issues, storage size concerns, especially with the new region potentially pushing the game size much higher, and general balance discussions. And all of that starts to mix into the reaction. So instead of the anniversary feeling like a fresh high point, it ends up feeling like more of the same. But again, it's important to stay fair here. Not everyone is negative. There are definitely players who are excited, especially for the story and exploration. Some people genuinely think the patch looks great and are looking forward to playing it. The issue is just that the anniversary side of it doesn't match that level of expectation. So overall, the situation is pretty clear. The update itself looks good, the content is there, but as a second anniversary, it feels underwhelming to a lot of players. And that's why the community is so divided right now. So now I'm curious, what do you think? Do you feel like the rewards are actually fine, or were you expecting something more from a second anniversary? Let me know in the comments. And if you want updates once the patch goes live, or if anything changes like additional rewards or adjustments, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.